Tonight, the sweeping FBI probe into alleged gambling schemes tied to NBA players and mafia families. The high-profile arrests.
We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery.
The extraordinary accusations, including the gadgets used to rig basketball and poker games. Fever pitch on the eve of the World Series.
10,000, 20,000, it's a little bit hard to justify.
Ticket prices now versus then, plus Ticketmaster's response to massive markups. And a first look at Hudson's Bay Company's historic auction.
He became an honorary Grand Seigneur of the Hudson Bay.
The most expensive item by a famous former statesman and artist. What it's expected to fetch.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a major gambling bust involving some of the biggest names in pro sports and the mafia. More than 30 people have been arrested in two separate schemes, including sports betting and rigged poker games. CTV's John Venevali-Rao on the operation and the alleged cheating devices the suspects are accused of using.
The stunning charges coming just days after a brand new NBA season tipped off, with these current and former players, including a Hall of Famer, among those accused, following investigations involving sports betting and rigged poker games linked to the mafia.
We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery.
U.S. authorities laying out two separate schemes, the first involving Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, who was arrested along with former NBA player Damon Jones. Investigators say they provided information about games to co-defendants who used it to place illegal bets.
The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses.
You got to keep fighting.
Authorities say one example took place when Rozier was playing for the Charlotte Hornets in 2023. They say he let others secretly know he planned to leave a game early with a supposed injury.
Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit.
For more than a year, authorities in New York have been looking into illegal gambling after Toronto Raptors player Jonte Porter was caught disclosing information to bettors. The NBA banned him for life. Authorities say the second indictment involves Jones and the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Chauncey Billups, who was allegedly involved in a national illegal poker ring that lured wealthy players they called fish to play in rigged games from the Hamptons to Las Vegas. According to charging papers, the scheme included 4 well-known mafia families in New York, along with high-tech cheating devices, including X-ray tables that could read cards.
Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived through rigged shuffling machines.
The NBA says Billups and Rozier are being put on immediate leave and that it'll continue to cooperate with authorities. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
On the eve of the World Series in Toronto, fans are pumped for Game 1, but many are still crying foul over ticket prices. CTV's Kamal Karmali on the concerns and comparisons to the last time the Fall Classic came to Canada.
After George Springer's historic dinger soared, so did Blue Jays' ticket prices.
10,000, 20,000, it's a little bit hard to justify.
For Game 1 of the World Series, more than $1,000 just for general admission, which gets you into Rogers Centre, but doesn't get you a seat. Having the privilege of actually sitting down, though, is going to cost you.
The bandwagon has a cost to it.
That costs thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars.
4 tickets was around $13,000. So I think I'll buy a car instead.
How does it all compare to 3 decades ago when the Jays were last in the World Series? This week, the cheapest tickets at face value were going for just under $500. Back in 1993, nosebleeds were just over $30, which would be $61 today.
The cost of a ticket to the World Series game was like the cost of a beer and a hot dog today, right? So obviously, it's gotten completely out of control.
Ticketmaster says it's not setting these prices, nor is any one person or entity. The resale prices are set by numerous small sellers. Ontario's premier with this warning to the entertainment giant.
I'm going to be sitting in my man cave because I'm not paying whatever $1,500 for a ticket. And by the way, those ticket gougers, they're going to pay the price. We're going to get to them.
Looking at legislation that would cap ticket resale prices, but it was his government that scrapped a law 6 years ago that capped ticket resale prices at 50%, saying they couldn't enforce it. Most fans now at peace.
I just couldn't.
With not being able to attend.
I will sit home and watch it at home.
Knowing it'll be historic no matter where they watch this series. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, as you just heard, ticket prices were lower when the Blue Jays last won the World Series. Buying tickets had its own challenges. In 1993, people lined up outside the Sky Dome for World Series tickets, with some even camping out overnight.
How long you been waiting? 12 hours. You camped out overnight? Yes. Too cold, too cold. It was worth it. Get to go to the games.
Right now we got some singles and obstructed seats on sale for all 4 games of the World Series at $78, $58, and $32.
In retrospect, quite the bargain. And breaking news late tonight, U.S. President Donald Trump revealing on his Truth Social that all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated after a claim by the Ronald Reagan Foundation this evening.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
This ad featuring Reagan from a 1987 address was used by the Ontario government warning about tariffs. Tonight, the foundation wrote the ad misrepresents the presidential radio address, and Ontario did not seek permission, adding that it is reviewing its legal options. Ottawa is fighting back against American automakers who have cut jobs in Canada. There will now be limits on the number of vehicles Stellantis and General Motors can import tariff-free from the U.S. to sell in Canada. It comes after the companies announced they are reducing the amount of production they are doing here. Air Canada is cutting staff with management positions in the bullseye. The airline telling CTV News that after a regular review, it has decided to reduce some non-unionized positions that amount to about 1% of total staff. Canada's old age security program is being put under the microscope tonight, with some saying that's where cuts should be made in the upcoming budget. CTV's senior political correspondent Michael Couture with what's sparking that call.
Why don't I not scoop the budget?
Prime Minister Mark Carney came close to revealing parts of the November budget, but he did expand a little on Wednesday night's speech, where he told university students transforming the Canadian economy would take some time and some sacrifices.
There's certain demands or desires to expand in different areas, and we won't be able to move as quickly as we otherwise would.
What will our legacy be in the future?
The founder of Generation Squeeze says the sacrifice that should be made is a change to the old age security program.
Can we ask those of us who are financially secure to maybe take smaller subsidies in retirement so that the savings can be repurposed to eliminate seniors' poverty and to help our kids and grandchildren?
That's a red line for the Bloc Québécois, who has been asking for a boost to old age security. Despite hearing themes of fiscal restraint from Carney, the Conservative leader isn't buying it.
It's always the bait and switch. You know, he said he would spend less. He's spending 8% more. His deficit is 100% more than the one that the Liberal government had already put in place.
Carney did say dental care, health transfers, childcare, and the National Food Program won't be affected. The budget is being crafted as trade negotiations continue with the U.S., focused on the steel and aluminum industries.
The Americans are moving to an approach which is sector by sector as opposed to global.
Carney says if there isn't progress with the affected sectors, his government will ensure other countries don't have unfair access to our markets if we don't have access to theirs. Omar?
All right, Mike, thank you. A power play from the federal and Ontario governments jointly spending $3 billion for mini nuclear reactors in the Greater Toronto area.
It will position Canada as the global leader in the deployment of small modular reactors.
The Darlington New Nuclear Project is on the Prime Minister's list of projects in the national interest. The first of 4 small reactors is being built in Bowmanville, Ontario. Ottawa will contribute $2 billion, while the province will put up $1 billion. Ontario Power Generation has said the entire project should cost $21 billion. The 4 reactors will power about 1.2 million homes. The government tabled a bill today to crack down on violent and repeat bail offenders. It comes just days after murder and child abduction in Ontario committed by a man on bail. CTV's Heather Wright with how lawmakers hope the bill will prevent crimes like that from happening.
On Tuesday afternoon, shots rang out at this busy shopping plaza in Brampton, Ontario. A woman shot and killed, a child abducted. The man accused was out on bail and awaiting trial for domestic violence charges involving the same woman, 29-year-old Savannah Kula, the mother of his child. Ottawa is hoping to crack down on violent and repeat offenders with new legislation introduced today.
This is a package of sweeping reforms that includes more than 80 targeted measures that will make bail laws stricter and sentencing tougher.
The federal Liberal government has been accused of being soft on crime and for allowing a so-called revolving door justice system that's too lenient. The changes announced today are designed to make bail more difficult for violent and repeat offenders, creating a reverse onus that falls on the accused.
The accused must provide information that clearly demonstrates they do not pose a public safety risk.
The bill also introduces stiffer penalties not only for violent and repeat offenders, but for those who target first responders, organized retail theft, and crimes against public infrastructure. Victims' rights advocates, police unions, and provinces have been demanding these types of changes amid a rise in violent and high-profile crimes. But not everyone is on side. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association says there is not enough evidence that shows bail causes crime, and they worry innocent people will be held in custody as a result.
We do worry that as we erode this charter right more and more and more, we'll get into a situation where just because you are accused of something before you have your day in court, you're held behind bars.
Asked about whether this bill will require more space in jails, the Justice Minister said provinces asked for these changes and should be developing capacity to manage more people going through detention facilities. Omar.
All right, Heather, thank you. In Alberta, the government is set to end the ongoing teachers' strike and legislate educators back to the classroom. As CTV's Stephanie Thomas reports, that's causing concern that demands for better conditions may never be met.
And we want to be able to end it for the sake of both frontline teachers as well as students and their families.
Neither side of the education labor disruption is budging. Without concessions to make a deal, Premier Danielle Smith says a new deadline for Alberta teachers is fast approaching.
They've got 72 hours to come in and find a different way to get the kids back in class and work with us on enhanced mediation. And barring that, this is kind of the last resort.
Smith says teachers will be forced back to work with the tabling of Bill 2, also known as the Back to School Act. 1,000 teachers from the Calgary region headed to the capital by the school bus load Thursday morning, unified against the provincial government.
I will say that teachers are worried. No one got into education for this, right? We're worried. We don't know what's coming our way.
The worry is turning into exhaustion as the strike stretches into a third week. All that time, educators have not been paid.
Being a single mom, it's been challenging for sure. I contacted my bank and they paused my mortgage for 3 months, and you'd have your savings.
She's also frustrated that the government can end bargaining without addressing classroom sizes, teachers' ratios, and the increasing complex student needs.
Forcing us back to work, and it's just kind of like, what has this all been for then, right?
The NDP opposition leader says the government is engaging in the biggest abuse of democratic rights in Alberta's history.
But they're using the power like dictators, and it's an attack on teachers, on parents, on kids, on workers and their unions, and it's an attack on democracy.
They're going to ram through legislation on a Monday evening at the House so that they can achieve their end goal.
Support for these thousands of ralliers hasn't waned amid rumblings of further labor unrest. Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Calgary.
Coming up.
It is literally a painting you feel like you could walk into.
What's for sale in the historic Hudson's Bay Company auction, and for how much? We are getting a first look tonight at some of the 4,400 pieces the Hudson's Bay Company will start selling off from its collection November 19th. HBC filed for bankruptcy, and the proceeds will be used to help pay back creditors who are owed about $1 billion. We were at the auction house this morning. These are just some of the first 27 pieces going up for sale in a matter of weeks. And for the man preparing one of the most significant auctions in the country's history, it's also bringing up fond memories.
I think, as for most Canadians, I remember my grandmother taking me to the Hudson Bay and having as I talked to my mom about this at dinner the other day, the Hudson cheese hot dog with a malt.
This piece by Canadian artist Frederick Marlett Bell Smith of a dreary Toronto day, estimated to fetch up to $150,000, is among David Heffel's favorites.
It is literally a painting you feel like you could walk into.
But Marrakesh, which could go for $600,000, is the jewel of the collection. So how did Winston Churchill end up gifting this piece to HBC?
He became an honorary Grand Seigneur of the Hudson Bay, and at the appointment ceremony he was asked by a director of the Hudson Bay if he'd gift one of his special paintings to the company. He said he couldn't because he had given them all to Lady Churchill, but later Lady Churchill was asked, and she selected this work, which was given to the company, and marvelous provenance from the artist to Lady Churchill to the Hudson Bay.
The former British Prime Minister and artist had a fascination with the Moroccan city, another of Churchill's paintings of the city, which he gifted to U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, was later bought by Brad Pitt, who then gave it to Angelina Jolie.
And as a byproduct of the divorce, that work of Marrakesh by Churchill recently went up for auction and sold for over $16 million Canadian.
This is the room where it will all take place, but since the auction will also be live streamed, buyers can bid from anywhere in the world. For now, the space is part storage area.
I'm assuming these might be our Canadian athletes and medal winners that made that Olympics in Vancouver a blockbuster.
These HBC jackets will be part of online-only auctions later this year that will feature less pricey items with no minimum bids. Not part of any auction, 24 artifacts believed to be of Indigenous heritage to be returned or donated. The 1670 Royal Charter that gave the company an unprecedented business monopoly over Indigenous land will be part of a separate sale. Two of Canada's richest families, the Westons and the Thompsons, have both expressed interest in buying it and donating it to museums. Artifacts that reflect a nuanced legacy of North America's oldest company. Turning now to a museum with one of the world's most impressive art collections, a new video that appears to show how thieves made their getaway from the Louvre after a stunning heist. The robbers appeared to descend a mechanical ladder from a second-story window. From there, they would escape on scooters with more than $100 million worth of jewels. U.S. President Donald Trump is plowing ahead with his plan to tear down the historic East Wing of the White House to build a $300 million ballroom. Trump says the cost will be split between himself and private donors. And a historic moment in Vatican City today as the King joined the Pope in prayer in the Sistine Chapel. It's the first joint worship involving a British monarch and a Catholic pontiff since Henry VIII broke away from Rome in 1534, nearly 500 years ago. Still ahead, the big reveal: where soccer superstar Lionel Messi will play next season. Global soccer superstar Lionel Messi is staying in Miami. The 38-year-old Argentinian legend agreed to extend his stay with the club through the 2028 season. He joined Inter Miami in 2023. The club released this video of Messi signing his new contract in a long-awaited stadium that is currently under construction and expected to open next year. David Ball, the driving force behind one of the biggest songs of the 80s, has passed away.
I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the heart of me, the love.
Ball, seen here on the drums, was part of the British band Soft Cell, best known for the song Tainted Love. The duo, which split in 1984 but reunited in 2001, had just completed a new album days before Ball's death. He passed away Wednesday in his sleep. Ball was 66 years old. Pharrell Williams will open the World Series with a special performance in Toronto tomorrow night.
Now are you ready?
This is the postseason. Every pitch, every swing, every moment hits harder.
The American singer will perform before the game alongside the Voices of Fire Gospel Choir, who will also perform the anthems. American pop group The Jonas Brothers will perform in Game 2. Still ahead, how the Toronto Blue Jays are getting set to take their swing at baseball's biggest prize. Well, excitement is in the air as the country gets set to watch Canada's team, the Blue Jays, take on the LA Dodgers. A lot of pressure, but also a lot of pride for the team and the fans. CTV's Allison Hurst with how they're prepping for game day.
Preparations are in full swing as the Blue Jays get ready to host the Dodgers for Game 1 of the World Series.
Everybody says it's a dream come true, which it is.
Coming off a big Game 7 win, a world of media attention has descended on Toronto, and players are trying to keep calm and have fun for the Fall Classic.
I played some of my best baseball in my backyard as a kid, so I try to bring that with me out there, and hopefully that can be a little contagious, and the boys can just relax and enjoy it, because it's a special moment that it may never happen again.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. says he was in touch with his mom earlier today.
She say she proud of me, and no matter what will happen, she always going to be proud of me.
Fans are also proud the boys of summer lasted into the fall and are feeling good about their chances.
We're on a run, and we got them, no problem.
My gut doesn't lie. It's saying Jays in 6. We're an underdog, but I think the boys can come through.
Tomorrow's starting pitcher, rookie Trey Yesavage, knows they're playing for a huge fan base.
We represent this entire country, and we're this country's team. So we want to go out there and do everything we can to make this country proud of us.
For manager John Schneider, this is a career in the making.
I'm just thankful and humbled that I'm the one doing it, leading them into the World Series.
The LA Dodgers arrived in Toronto last night, bringing with them their star-studded lineup, drawing huge international attention. Starting pitcher and heavy hitter Shohei Ohtani, who was rumored to come to Toronto for the 2024 season.
It's an unfortunate reality as a free agent that you get to really pick one team.
He's a once-in-a-lifetime guy on your roster, but here we are, and I'm going to have to face him at some point.
Fans lined up early and all day, hoping to get a piece of the merchandise.
One of those nice World Series hats and maybe a T-shirt.
I was able to get some stuff for the older ones, but not for the baby. They have stuff for babies, but not World Series branded stuff.
Excitement and anticipation mounting ahead of Game 1. One of the biggest remaining questions is whether or not we're going to see Bo Bichette in the starting lineup tomorrow. Manager John Schneider was asked about that today. He said he's going to see how he feels after tonight's workout, talk to him, trust his players before making his final decision. Allison Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
We will be cheering them on. And that's a snapshot of this Thursday. Heather is here tomorrow. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching, and good night.
CTV National News, Canada's #1 newscast.